So you might be looking at the Samsung Galaxy A36 and comparing it against the Samsung Galaxy S25, and you might want to see which one is a better one for you. Now, the big thing I can definitely tell you is that when it comes down to both of these devices, they're both very good and very interesting, but clearly the Samsung Galaxy S25 is kind of the one that might be the better one for you. So kind of keep that in mind. If you're wanting the better device in almost every single way, a device like the Samsung Galaxy S25 is basically going to be the one for you there. But there's still some really cool, interesting things about the Samsung Galaxy A36. So we'll take a look at both these things throughout this whole entire video. First things first though, if you do want to go ahead and pick up either one of these particular phones or some other phones I'd recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones. The Samsung Galaxy S25, which came out a few months ago this year, on the front side is going to be giving you a 6.2-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. Now, this type of phone and this type of panel definitely looks very, very good. This is without a doubt probably one of the best types of phones you can buy. It's a very bright panel at 2600 nits of brightness, 120 Hz, and it really is a really nice panel. The technology on this panel is very nice too, with it being an LTPO display, and I do feel like if you are going to go through and pick up a device, this is easily a really good option from what I can tell. So if you are going to go ahead and buy a device, I do think this is a pretty decent option for the most part, and it is kind of one of the main things I kind of think about there, for the most part. So it's a really good panel. There's not much to say about it because it's still one of the better panels you could buy. With the Samsung Galaxy A36, it's a little bit of a different story. So within this phone, it's a bigger sized panel. So it's going to be a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. And I like this phone panel a lot. I think these types of screens look very good. But, with this panel being the way it is, it's a 1900 nit brightness, and it's still giving you 120 Hz as well. So with this type of phone, it's still giving you a pretty good sized panel. It's fairly bright and it's 120 Hz as well. So that is kind of a nice thing to keep in mind here within this type of device. So I think that in and of itself is actually pretty cool. So that is one of those things to keep in mind there, because if you're going to go through and pick up a device, I do think that is a really nice thing to keep in mind there within these types of devices when it comes down to it. Now, they're both giving you USB Type-C ports on the bottom, which is always a very nice thing to have. And if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, I love having USB Type-C. Obviously, that's like the standard now. They're both also basically giving you like these flat sides. So that's always something really nice to have too, because you can go through and pick up these flat sides on these phones and still get a really nice type of experience when it comes down to that side. On the other side of this phone, it's another really interesting thing here. So with the Samsung Galaxy S25, this phone is basically giving you a frosted glass back, whereas on the Samsung Galaxy A36, this phone is giving you a standard glass back. So this is also going to be one of those other big key takeaway areas to kind of keep in mind here too, because if you're trying to go through and pick up a device, you might see that with something like a Samsung Galaxy S25, this phone is going to be giving you a phone that's going to feel more premium than the Galaxy A36. On top of that, the Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you this, wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, where the Galaxy A36 doesn't really have any of that type of capability whatsoever. So that right there is going to be another really big key takeaway area for this type of device as well. When it comes down to the way they feel, again, the Galaxy S25 is going to feel more premium, especially when it comes down to the price tag. The Galaxy S25 has a more premium price tag at $730, where the Samsung Galaxy A36 is going to be costing about $370. So that right there is a really big thing to keep in mind here too. Because if you're wanting the better device here, again, from a price per dollar standpoint, maybe the A36 might be better, but I would still take the S25 any day. When it comes down to the cameras, the Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you a 50 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, then a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, where the Galaxy A36 is going to be giving you a 50 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel ultra-wide, then a 5 megapixel macro camera. So when it does kind of come down to this particular situation, what I can definitely tell you is when it comes down to the way this particular phone is going to feel in terms of the camera, the Galaxy S25 is 10 times better than the A36. Not only are you getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back of the Galaxy S25, you're also getting 8K capability on the back of the Galaxy S25 as well. With a phone like the Samsung Galaxy A36, this phone is basically going to be giving you 4K at 30 on the front and 4K at 30 on the back. So you're not even really getting that 8K capability on the backside, which that right there is a very, very insane thing to kind of keep in mind there within that type of device. And I do feel like if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, I feel like that is a really big thing to keep in mind there from that particular side. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but that could be one other thing you might run into here within this type of phone, because that is going to be kind of giving you some issues for the most part if you're going to go through and pick up this type of device. So again, not the biggest deal in the world, but that is just one of those other key takeaway areas that you're going to have to keep in mind here within this type of device when it comes down to it. When it comes down to software longevity, this is also going to be another really important thing to keep in mind here too. If you're wanting the phone that is going to be giving you a longer lasting software experience, it's going to be tough to tell. I would imagine that with something like the Samsung Galaxy S25, because this is kind of the newer one, that one is probably going to be the one that is going to be giving you like that longer software experience. But it's still kind of tough to tell. I wouldn't be 100% too sure as of this point, but I'd probably say the Galaxy S25 would be the one, but there's still a chance the A35 or the A36 is still going to be lasting for quite some time too when it comes down to it from that side. And when it comes down to the batteries though, this is where stuff starts getting interesting. The Galaxy S25 is giving you a 4000 mAh battery. The A36 is giving you a 5000 mAh battery. So things like this is where things start to get really interesting, because when you are going to go through and pick up a device, you are probably going to notice that within a device like a Samsung Galaxy S25, that battery life might not be the best compared to something like, this type of device when the A36, but I still don't think it's like the biggest deal in the world either. And this is still like a really decent device when it comes down to it. But when it comes down to the performance, and this is a massive difference. The Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you that Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset with 12 gigs of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy A36 is going to be giving you that Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 chipset with 6, 8, or 12 gigs of RAM. The difference in the performance is pretty big. You are going to be getting a very, very good performing device inside of something like my Samsung Galaxy S25. It's going to be very fast, it's going to be very good, and that is really one of the best things you can kind of think about here if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, because you are going to be getting a very good premium device on something like a Samsung Galaxy S25. That one is going to be faster, that one's going to be giving you a better experience overall, and that is, without a doubt, one of the biggest things to keep in mind here when it comes down to it as well. So, in my personal opinion, when I'm looking at something like a Samsung Galaxy S25, and this is without a doubt the better phone here in almost every single way. This is the one that's going to be giving you a better experience. It's going to be giving you pretty much everything across the board that you pretty much want, and it's overall like a really, really good device. With something like the Samsung Galaxy A36, on the other hand, this is one of those devices that I don't really think is the first one I'd recommend buying. I'd recommend buying a Galaxy S25 or buying a Galaxy S24 or buying a Galaxy S23 before I'd buy a Galaxy A36. So kind of keep that in mind, and you can find those phones, the S24 and the S23, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars cheaper than what they initially retailed for when they first came out. So kind of keep that in mind too. But in terms of that, that's kind of how I see these phones kind of comparing to each other right now. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.